Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so we're the Empire State Group, and we made an architecture classifier, which is a computer vision AI that can detect the architecture style of a building.
Hi, my name is Ben Howard. I'm 15 and I'm a sophomore at Bellingham High School.
I'm Cashel. I'm 18, and I'll be a freshman at UT Austin.
I'm Joy. I'm 15, and I will be a sophomore at Y High.
I'm Susie. I'm 17, and I'll be a junior at the Upper Arlington High School.
I'm Gabriel. I'm 16. I'm going to be a junior at Ridgewood High School. And Tara is RTA.
We originally were going to do a chess detection AI that suggested moves, but we settled on an architecture classifier AI that was more in line with the goals of the camp. The 5 styles we chose were Egyptian, Art Deco, Brutalist, Postmodern, and Gothic.
Not many ideas come to mind on uses when you first hear of it, but we thought of a few. Like construction, you see a building down the street, you want to know what it is for your own purposes, so you pull this up and you find out. Another use later on, if it ever gets better, is archaeology. Maybe there's a historical site, and you can use the AI to get a second opinion on what it might have come. Collecting the data was a bit tough for this because there's not many photos of specific architecture types on the internet, but we managed to find one, and it racked in around 4,200 labels, which is roughly 800 photos per category, which leads the AI to do a decent enough job.
So for actually training the AI, we used Yolo as our framework, which stands for You Only Look Once, and we use that for object detection. And for the distribution of images, we had 80% for training, which is like the majority, and then we used 10% for testing and 10% for validation and tuning the hyperparameters.
We lowered the confidence needed to label an image in order to get a lot more images labeled.
So this is our confusion matrix, and as you can see, it obviously isn't perfect. A lot of our photos actually went undetected, but when it does label a building, it's generally correct.
So another struggle we faced was that postmodern has a lot of overlap with brutalist or Art Deco, so the model was easily confused. And our major takeaways from this project, next slide please. Our major takeaways were to use diverse data sets, keep our code organized, ask questions, and to Google everything.
All right, so if we want to pull up the website.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is our website. We scroll down a bit. This is where you can upload a building and try it out yourself. And down here is a bunch of examples of all of our different labels. It's got the Gothic there, and the Egyptian was the one before. And then scrolling down a bit, our design process. So first we determined the architectural styles that we wanted to train our AI on, which is the 5 ones that we mentioned. And then we classified them in our database using labels. And then we sent that to the Yolo Computer Vision AI to the label data. And then we evaluated the classification AI to tune its hyperparameters, and we tested for accuracy and precision and recall and stuff. And then down here is our about us. Looking good, looking good. And then we can upload that first image that I gave you. This one is an example of it working. It labels it as Art Deco, which is correct, and it gives it a 56% confidence, which is above the 25% threshold. And if we scroll down a little bit, we can go through the slideshow. It's got it's got all of our different labels and a little bit of information about them for reference purposes. Go down a little bit. Here's our confusion matrix and a definition of that, and then each of the tools that we use. And if we want to go back to the home page and then re-upload that other image that I gave you. So this one is an example of it getting confused. It doesn't find a building, or at least it's not quite 25% confident about it. And this is because we only had 4,000 images and a few weeks to do it. If we had a little bit more time, we would train it with more images, and probably specifically more images on postmodern, because that one's a particularly tricky architecture style to classify. So that's all, folks. You can put the link in the chat.